Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this, my second channel, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with all the pre-show and after-show Flat Earth debate goodness. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a crypto and PayPal link in the info box below the video. Now, we are joined by a almost full panel, as it's the in-between bit between the two shows, so I'll pass across to them and hopefully say some hellos. Hopefully there's a reasonable conversation going on. Hello all for the in-between bit.
Hello.
There'll be a 5-minute gap and then we'll go live again in 5.
Alright.
It was a reasonable conversation until I sweared, because I don't know, are you getting demonetized when I use like the F word and so on?
F word?
No.
Yeah, is that
You mean swearing?
Oi! Turn off your Skype!
Me,
I
sorry.
just muted
Don't know why my desk isn't
I
working.
just said
Just mute things.
my head got completely fucked
Mute me,
from the
Prick.
time difference, right?
Right.
Don't
So
mute me in
I
the
don't.
hangout.
I don't know if. I hope Nathan's daughter can't hear me, so she doesn't. I hope he has some. He has headphones or so. I don't know.
Yeah, I just tried calling Nathan. Oh, here we go.
Did you want in on Skype? Is that why you...
Hello.
Yeah, it's all muted okay. Is it working okay? We're getting a load of feedback.
Well, I'm hearing you on Skype.
Cool. Did you want to present something? Is that why you wanted to be on Skype?
Well, no, I wanted to run something by you.
Well, you're still being recorded, so if you wanted... Okay, so you want me to pick
We'll
up...
do it in the Hangout if you want.
Yeah, just join the hangout and tell me. But just bear in mind... Oh, he's gone.
I can mute you, Nathan, if you like.
Don't mute me. I've got a desk. If you mute me in the hangout, it just causes confusion for me, Arvin.
Right, but Cinder, yeah, you can come on my show. You don't have to be all like sharp or anything. You know, it's a morning breakfast show.
Oh,
What the hell is
perfect.
going on here?
Just keep it calm, no swearing, no disgusting subjects, preferably because people are eating their breakfast there. So.
Ah, yeah, of course.
Well, here you are, guys, right? We're talking about angles now, yeah? Now, I climbed a hill called Nicky Nook, right? It's got a weird name, but it's 705 feet tall, right? Now, I can't get for the life of me what the height of Haitian power plant is, right? But having lived in the area for a long time and seen the building many times, I can safely say it's only around about 350 feet tall, right? So from the top of the hill, 700 feet high, looking down at this Haitian power plant, right? How come I'm not seeing onto the roof of it when it's 10 miles away? 10 miles away of curve, dropping 70 feet. It's half the height of where I am now. Why can't I see why is the roof completely level to my eye line? Shouldn't I be peering down onto the roof? Or is
How
this
far
proof
away?
10.1 miles?
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If If you'd like to support this channel, then there's a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on your favourite social media. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now we are joined by Zinda, William, The Plain Truth, Ranty Flat Earth, Earth Flattener, Daniel, Chocolate Sane, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
G'day.
Hello.
Hello.
Yo, yo.
We're going to kick straight off.
Hello. What?
Hello. We've got you up already, Ranty. So you were telling us just before the show started about what you've caught here. So do you want to give us a bit more info?
Okay. Well, I'm posing a question to the panel, basically, which is, I'm looking at a building in the distance. It's 10.15 miles away. And there should be nearly 70 foot of drop. Now, my observer height is 705 feet to the hill, and then another 5 feet on top, so about 710 feet high. And I'm looking at this Haitian power plant. Now, unfortunately, I can't get a height for Haitian power plant. However, from all observations that I've done before, I would guess it's no more than 350, maybe 400 feet high. So I'm essentially about 300 feet higher than this building itself. And I'm looking at it as it's going down the drop. It's dropped another 70 feet, should have been gone from its height. So why am I looking parallel to the roof? If I pause it in a moment, why am I looking parallel to the roof and not looking down or onto the roof?
So my first question is, what's the elevation of the ground floor?
Oh, it's right on the water. This is
Okay.
right on the water. Hisham is right on the water.
Okay, there you go. All right, good.
So essentially, it's half the height of where I am. It's 10 miles away. So when I'm looking across at it, I should be looking down onto the roof of it, surely. But if you look at the sides of the building and the front of it there, you could run a line across that and it's completely straight. So is it that we're looking up to the building? Because it certainly doesn't look like we're looking down at the building.
It's too far away. You're looking straight at it.
It should also be tilting away from you, shouldn't it?
It should. And I did a video.
Yeah, but that was my point in the in-between show. That is, that if it's 10 miles away, you're only 1/6 of a degree according to the curvature, so it's even less for them. They'll say that's even smaller of a degree. You're not going to notice the, even though I agree with you, Chocolate, I totally agree with you, but their answer is going to be it's even more diminished.
But again, I mean, I've still got to ask this question: why am I not looking down onto the roof? I know what the answer is going to be, but that to me that doesn't make sense.
The roof is also a flat surface.
Hold on. You know what the
You're
answer is
also
going to be?
looking parallel at. So there should probably be some kind of micro diffraction right there.
Sorry, you know what the answer is going to be.
considered
What do
that?
you mean you know what the answer is going to be?
Ever considered that?
What's the answer, Nath?
I'm asking you what your question was. You said you know what the answer is going to be. What did you mean?
I can't hear you, Nathan.
You said you know what the answer is going to be. Those were your words. I know what the answer is going to be.
No, that's what their answer is going to be. That doesn't explain the observation, in my opinion. That they should say. I mean, from my opinion, I should be looking down onto that roof from being 300 feet higher, or at least 300 feet higher, and having that as being a cumulative drop by virtue of going around the curve. It should also be tilted backwards as it goes around the curve. And none of this seems to be evident in the video. None of the wind turbines are curving or tilting. Nothing. that building. I'm not looking down onto it. I'm looking essentially across at it, or if not slightly up at it. So is that not indicative looking across a plane as opposed to around a curve?
Absolutely, it's because it's flat. Yes, that's what I was angling for when you were like, I know what the answer will be. Yeah, it's because it's flat.
Oh, right.
It's because you're looking across a flat plane, precisely.
Yeah, we're certainly not looking at it as you would expect to see it as it goes around the curve of the Earth. There's not 70 foot of drop there, and there's not, you know, I'm not looking down onto the roof. I'm looking essentially across at it or up at it. It's not going around any curvature.
But would you agree that you should be kind of looking onto it, but because of the angle to the surface of the roof, there may be some actual diffraction going on locally right there, because you're practically looking past another flat surface. It may be very far in the distance, but it is still a flat surface you're looking past from a narrow angle. So maybe that is why it seems really literally flat, while it should be actually a bit of surface you're seeing. You think that's plausible theory or concept?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but what else I'm saying is it doesn't match up to the globe model at all in any way, shape, or form. But this is going to be a new observation point for me as well, so I'm going to be having to climb this mountain several times, I would imagine. I say it's a mountain, it's 700 feet. Here we have some turbines in the distance. I think in this video I'm just asking the question, where's the tilt on these turbines? You know, even the buildings, everything's completely straight.
I don't think you should expect to see a tilt of the wind turbines on a globe Earth. I mean, 10
how about
miles.
Where's the tilt anywhere?
Like,
anywhere. There should be tilt everywhere.
Did you see anything tilting away from you
all
on your
the way
plane
uptown
journey?
Manhattan, the buildings all the way downtown Manhattan should be tilting away from me. Why are they not?
I think you could expect something to notice it when it was like 10 times smaller, the Earth, I guess. But I think on this scale, I think we are underestimating the scale a little bit.
All right, is everybody hearing? Everybody hears Zinder saying exactly what I said they were going to say.
No, regarding the tilt.
Yeah,
things.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're saying that it's only 10 miles, and so you're even going to see less of a tilt if you're going to see it at all. So you're just simply echoing what I said.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I didn't understand what you said before. Yeah. I think this is kind of a reasonable explanation for a globe Earth, that you shouldn't even see the tilt on 10 miles. I mean, why should you?
I think it would be noticeable. You don't think you could see it at all? Or, I mean, what would be the angle we're looking for?
0.0 something degree, 1 degree, I don't know. I would have to plug in the numbers to see it.
Yeah, that would be a good, if someone wants to do that, or I can try and figure it out. And, so, like, even when you're at 20 miles, see what, because as you get further, every mile you're going to add exponentially more tilt. So,
well, yeah, I'll be climbing this several times in the future, and to be fair, I can actually see I should be able to see the Isle of Man by Ball Earth logic. I should be able to see the top 1,000 feet of the Isle of Man, and the bottom part of the Isle of Man should be hidden. So it's saying that I can actually see for at least 75 or 80 miles, which brings into the equation the Welsh Mountains, not only the Welsh Mountains, but the Isle of Man. But as you can see, the clarity on this day was really just poor. You know, there's a lot of haze in the air, so I couldn't see very far. Even though it appeared like it was a good day, but I will be going back and I'll be doing this observation quite a few times because it's only about a half an hour drive from me. And as I pan around, you can see for so far you can see it's going to be great to do these observations from. And I will also be able to see the wind turbines in the Irish Sea. So yeah, let's bring it on. Let's see if there's any tilt. If we can see any tilt at those distances. I'll show you on Google Earth actually.
I'm glad you brought it back to tilt. I don't know who was speaking just before you were, Ranty, but they'll happily say that we can see the accumulative obstruction, you know, at the horizon when using a begging the question calculator. What about the accumulative tilt? Oh, no, you won't see any tilt. The great scale negator, as Travis puts it, stops us seeing tilt. Oh, you'll see accumulative obstruction when ignoring all elements of perspective, though. And there's your globe proof, because we use a calculator that assumes art. So there's your proof.
If I did it right, these wind turbines should be tilted at 0.4 degrees around it. On 10 miles. At 10 miles, yeah.
0.4 of a degree, so half a degree tilt. That's not chicken feed. What about 35 miles? What should the tilt be over that sort of distance? Because there is no doubt in my mind that these will be visible. So the next time I go and I film these here, which is essentially half of the turbines, and I'll be able to see the furthest ones as well from my elevation. So at 50 miles away, what's the tilt going to be on 50 miles?
All right, so yeah, right. Let's look at this just real quick. So Zinder, you gave us a decimal representation of the degree, right? What was it?
0.4 around. I don't know if I did the math even right.
No,
I just came up with it.
Right, but that's okay. But it's still meaningless in terms of even saying what a degree is. A degree is meaningless because we don't know what the distance is. And what I'm going to suggest right now is that we have to take both equations, the 8 inches per mile squared. We have to take the 8 inches per mile squared and the 1 degree together. So 1 degree is 69 miles, which is 1,400 feet of curvature if you do the 8 inches per mile squared. So my hypothesis is that that's the degree. The degree is 1,400 feet. That's not small.
Okay.
So it's bullshit to say it's only 1 degree of curve, or it's even half a degree. That's 700 feet of an arc of angling away. That's huge. Am I wrong? So there you go. I'm putting it out there for the first time. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think you are.
I don't know. I mean, I was only concentrating at the degree itself, how it, not about the height and so, right? Just how the turbine should appear to look straight or a little bit tilted, right? So I don't know why the height even matters on this example.
Well, would you be able to work out what the tilt should be at 50 miles?
Right, but yeah, Ranty, it's still significant in the same way. So my question to you is it correct to marry the two equations? 8 inches per mile squared, so you've got 50 miles. Okay, so you do your math on that. So then that has to have a representation in the degree argument, because 1 degree is 69 miles, so you're only 19 miles different. You know, you're only giving us a difference of 19 miles by giving us 50. So pretend that the degree is 50 miles. You're still going to have to, I still think it's going to be within like 1,000 feet. You're going to have 1,000 feet of curve. So you've got a building, doesn't matter what height it is, like Zinder's saying, it doesn't matter what the height is. It's got 1,000 feet of curve away from you. That is significant. It's not small visually.
Mm. Yeah, and I wasn't looking at the height differences. So you mean when it appears to you that it is lower down, then the tilt should be more noticeable? Because it's so much.
Of course, it should be more noticeable.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Of course.
It's never noticeable ever. We're only ever told why it's not noticeable, or how it's only this, that, and the other degree. Nothing's ever tilting away from us, ever, under any circumstances.
Mm. Kind of interesting.
Ever. And the borrowers don't bring that up. which I find very cute because they'll tell you, oh, this building is half gone, so that's curvature of the Earth. But where's the tilt? Oh, it's not tilting because you just can't see it. Really? So I can't see half the building because of the curve. But being that if it is curving away from me, it should be tilting according to reality, and it's not. It's just not. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I can tell you real quick how I thought to how I think it should be calculated on the tilt. I mean, I just took 40,000 kilometers, which is the thing of the Earth. I don't remember the word. Circumference of the Earth. Then I divided it by the actual distance, and then I've seen 1 in 860, and then I took 360 degrees and divided it by 860, and then I got, you know, the tilt that should have, right? Maybe I calculated it wrong. Just came up with it.
Well, if you had what 40, you said it's 40,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
Is the circumference of the Earth? Is what you're saying?
Yeah. It's just what it should look like on a globe Earth if it's really with the R value and everything was right.
So if you had 40,000 kilometers and you're dividing that by 360, which means one.
No, 40,000 kilometers dividing by 16 kilometers because of the distance.
1 degree of tilt would be 100 kilometers, then about 110, right?
I don't remember it. 0.4 was 0.4 was like 16 kilometers. So I don't know, around 36 kilometers or so should be 1 degree, I think.
I'm thinking differently because if you start at A and you go all the way around the world and you come back to where you were.
I miscalculated the thing. Seems like, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems pretty easy that if the Earth, to travel all the way around the circumference was 40,000 kilometers, then you just divide that by 360, which gives you 111 kilometers per degree of tilt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, you can put it that way too. It's completely right.
Why is there not a tilt calculator already developed? Right? Or would that be the same
I'll answer that.
Calculator?
Let me answer. Because they've hijacked perspective, so specifically the limitation based on the angle is what they tell you is Earth curve. Not curve, but obstruction. So we never see any curve. That doesn't exist. But obstruction at the horizon, which can be explained with the limitation of your angle, that is called curve. Nothing else. Obstruction at the horizon.
Copy that.
So does anybody have a guess for the 50-mile tilt?
50 miles will just be it'd be like 0.8 of a degree. Because if you take 24,900 miles and you divide that by 360, you get about 69 miles per degree.
Yep, I agree.
So if you want exactly 50, that would be, what, 69,000? I'm just trying to work it out. So it should be around 0.8.
So it should be measurable then.
Well, 1 degree, I think, is you would start from. So if you knew the height of what you were looking at, you could calculate 1 degree, or if it was 0.8 degree of tilt back, and if it was, I'm not sure the calculation to figure out how far back the top of the building should be tilting. You have to do what's that calculation? I forgot. It's like the triangle, calculating the angles. Yeah. So you would do trig on the height of the building.
Yeah. It is harder though to see the tilt when it tilts away from you than when it tilts to the left or to the right.
Sorry, would it not tilt in every direction from your vantage point based on you being on a ball?
I think only if tilting away from
Why?
me.
Why wouldn't it tilt in equal directions from every point from my direction outwards? If I'm on a sphere, it's tilting away in all directions, Zinder.
I think I disagree with you. I mean, it can't tilt.
Oh, right, my bad. It's just on one axis.
Right?
Is it Zinder? Is it just
Nathan's
on one? Sorry,
right.
hold on. I just want to
Yeah,
hold on,
please go
chocolate.
on,
Chocolate, hold on. So it's just on one axis, is it, Zinder? You feel that we should only see this tilt on one axis on a sphere?
I think it should only seem to tilt away from you, like.
Really? So just imagine this
direction.
for a second, Zinder. You've got an orange, and on that orange, you stick a couple of cocktail sticks. At one directly, so from top dead center, top of the orange, you go away from you forward, and then you stick a cocktail stick in. Then you go away at 1 o'clock and stick a cocktail stick. Then you go away at 11 o'clock and stick a cocktail stick in. Are they all tilting in the same axis on that sphere, that orange that you've just stuck cocktail sticks in? They're all on the same axis, right?
No, they tilt in other axis, of course.
Oh, right, but that would be different for Earth, right? Like you've just asserted. No, just one axis. Just away
I
from
thought
us.
from my perspective, it would only tilt in away from another perspective. It would tilt in another way.
No. Zinder, I'll say it one more time. If I'm on a ball, which I'm not, the Earth's flat, but if I'm to fantasize and have this religious belief that I'm on a ball, from where I stand, that's the top. And in every direction, it's a ball. Mm-hmm. In all directions, curving away, in every direction, in different axes, everywhere. Because it's a sphere. Not one axis, all axes, from me outwards. It's curving everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, we don't see that.
Yeah, you're right.
Right, but we don't see that. When you look out and spin around, everything looks flat. Nothing's tilting away in all directions. Nothing's falling away over a curve. You never see a curve.
Yeah, I give you that with this explanation. Yeah.
What would make you think otherwise, Zinder? What in your mind made you think it was just one axis that would fall away?
Because in my mind, when I stood on the middle, I am the one who has a 90-degree tilt from my perspective. So when I look farther away to something that is like 20 miles away, for me, it kind of tilts away from me, but from another perspective point, it would look a little different when, regarding where you are. So this made me kind of think otherwise. Because at the same time, everything on Earth could be considered as having a 90-degree tilt unless you put like it's relative to one each other, and then you can say, all right, for me standing on 90-degree, this one has 89-degree, this one has 88, 87, 86, and so on, right? But for every point on Earth itself, it has 90-degree tilt towards the sky on a globe Earth. This made me think this way.
Yeah, it's not the sky though. It's the stuff on the ground that should be tilting away from us in all directions. That's the problem, because it doesn't happen.
Yeah, so from wherever you are, everything else should be tilting away from you because you're always on the top of the quote-unquote wall.
Yeah. Right? This made me think that way, yeah. But in reality, of course, it would be different, as you guys pointed out.
In reality, everything's flat. That's just what it is.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, if we were looking at, say, a building 300 feet tall, that's, around 50 miles away, and we agree there's 0.8 of tilt on there, then the top of the building should be tilting away about 4 feet. So just over 1.2% or something like that of tilt. at 50 miles, basically. Is what this is saying.
So when you're in a plane and you have the potential to see for, let's say, 300 miles, then everything should look tilted at distance.
Oh, well, yeah, you'd be getting into definitely seeing a lot of the curve there, you know.
Yeah, but not the horizon. We're not looking at the horizon because people mistake the field of view, which is how far you can physically see, which will be a circle. It will be a circle because it will be the same amount in all directions, and you can't do that in a square, so it has to be circle. So we're confusing that with the horizon versus the building. So if you take a building that's before the horizon and you look at that, you should see the building tilting away.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, if you're at 300 miles, divide that by 69, so should at least be seeing about 4 degrees of tilt on the things in your view.
Yeah, but I guess my question again, unless I'm missing something, and you guys can call me out on it, what number did you just give again, Daniel?
What number did who
Sorry,
give?
4.3. Sorry, my mic was on mute.
Okay, so but again, what significance does 4.3 have? Because 50 miles has 1,600 feet of curve. That's more significant in my mind than so if you've got a 300-foot building at 50 miles, there's 1,600 feet of curve. I mean, just visualize that even abstractly in your mind. That's a huge degree of
You're talking about the bulge. The bulge would be 1,400 feet tall. You mean that's obstructing you?
No, I'm not talking about the obstruction. I'm talking, in my mind, I'm visualizing what a building 300 feet high arching away at 1,600 feet of drop. I mean, if you just drop that back 1,600 feet, in my mind at least, is more significant than we're led to believe.
Yeah,
so I guess,
I'm just not sure where 1,600 feet is coming from.
Well, that's the 8 inches per mile squared ratio. That's if you're at 50 miles away. Mm-hmm. If you're at 50 miles away squared times 8 divided by 12, that's 1,666.
You would have to be looking at like quite a downward angle just to see away from you, then just to see there. Because if you look straight out,
I guess that's what I'm saying. Right? You just said it. Right? You just said it. You would have to be looking down a significant degree. That's what I'm saying.
Which, you know.
So, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just because we were actually talking a lot yesterday talking about gyroscopes with Nummy, and we were talking about ring laser gyros and all that kind of stuff yesterday. So, which sort of ties into it, because if you know you're looking level from where you've set your gyro, then, you know, and you look at the horizon, you see stuff that's 50 miles away, and you're looking level, then like how can there be any curve? You're just looking straight ahead. So like for one, you're not looking down. There's no tilt on anything you see in the horizon.
Yeah.
All these things. I mean, don't understand why people can't really get it yet.
I guess I'd like some affirmation
the gyro is used to maintain the level of the aircraft, right? Real quick.
Yeah, but you could also use it to align a telescope.
All right, so when a plane lands, right, is that gyro ever, like, does a pilot ever have to reset or recalibrate that gyro to a different angle based off he just flew around a curve and obviously he's not on the same level he was?
That's what we don't get is, you know, some mechanical gyros have like a self leveling system in them, but then there's the ring laser gyros that don't have a level. They just record changes in your position.
Yeah, isn't that what Mr. Thrive and Survive did with his theodolite? He set it level in his location, and then when he got to Baltimore, he didn't have to reset it because he was level. Otherwise, yeah, you would have. Because you're changing.
I don't think the pilots need to recalibrate the gyroscope in the airplanes. I think they're just
No, right. Yeah, I think that's what Chocolate's saying. I think we would agree with you. That's our point.
But yeah,
level.
that's what I'm
you don't
saying.
Have to reset it.
Shouldn't they have to?
Right.
You know what I mean?
It would just
if they're
be
flying around a curve, because when you read about gyros, people go on about drift in the gyros, and there's some people saying that the drift is just like mechanical flaws in the gyro that make it slightly start to curve. And other people say there's drift from when you're traveling around the globe. You'll have drift that you have to recalibrate for. So,
well, wouldn't that be almost as silly a question, Chocolate? It's like in my mind, a gyro is a mechanical water level, because that's all it is. It's just maintaining lividity.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question.
And so basically, you could fly with a water level.
No, not just. It does it under force.
Right, but my point is that it's mechanical. So yeah, so couldn't you just save money and just fly with a spirit level in front of you? Because it's going to be level. It's going to show you if your attitude is changing.
Yeah, but only as long as it's stable, because the bubble is still very much sensitive to other forces applying, maneuvering, movement.
Yeah, but you're going to see it, right? No, I get it. You're just my point is that they're both the same measurement. They're both measuring.
Right.
Yeah, and I think a gyro has
the same purpose.
A gyro takes much longer to recalibrate itself, of course, because of its physical properties, right? Like I've seen a video. I know you guys don't like him, from Wolfie, who showed how a gyro works. When he turned it around, it recalibrated itself again.
Yeah, the mechanical gyros have, some of them have that built in, which is where Nummy was saying that if you wanted to do, the test where if you align it to the right axis of the Earth and you leave it for a few hours, you should see, degrees of tilt just by letting it sit there. And he was saying that you would just need a special gyro that doesn't have the self-aligning system. I think they call them humble gyros. They're just very basic.
Okay. I thought it was it would be like the property of a normal gyro to recalibrate itself to
no, there's
whatever.
Actually these there's like an air current system inside the airplane gyros that I think it's to do with air pressure or very, very small air currents that actually align them to Earth's proper level. But then again, if you wanted to go beyond that and you look at a ring laser gyro, they only measure changes in level. So there's no like calibration to it. It's only going to have an output if you move it. But then they have the software component to them. So people will take that, like Nummy was saying, that nowadays most of them are built together with GPS and a bunch of other sensors. So when you get these things, you're under the assumption that they're taking account for all this, axial rotation of the Earth already inside them, where a lot of people don't have the means to go into the software and actually see what they're doing. It's all just like it's already done for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like using an Earth curve calculator to figure out curve. You're gonna get curve anyway.
Yes, like I'm going to look a little bit more into gyros and how they work exactly, because it's kind of
talked
fascinating.
About it for about 5 hours yesterday.
Oh, really? I wasn't there. I was in an airplane.
Yeah,
whatever.
It was a great conversation between Nummy and Daniel.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
They know a lot. They know a lot more about gyros than I do. So.
Yeah, we were getting we were looking at how much it would cost to buy, a ring laser gyro, and then see what's involved in programming one without like going past or like writing your own software. But then Nami was saying that if you did that, people aren't going to really trust you because you know they can't really see what you're doing very easily. But if you had the mechanical humble gyroscope that doesn't have any self-levelization, it's just a single axis of highly accurate gyro is basically what you need. You align it to I forgot what. Well, you would align it to, I guess, the equator or something, and then there's supposed to be 15 degrees of tilt per hour.
Mm-hmm.
If you just let it sit there, it should start tilting.
Right.
So that's an experiment, I guess you could do, or an observation.
Yeah, and should I mean I don't know how I could align this properly, but I mean the internet gives many answers, so maybe it isn't that hard to bring a gyro with you, and it would be funny when you go through the security check and so on, and then they look into they scan your hand baggage, and then they look what the fuck are you bringing a gyro on board like.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the realization is that you don't actually have to move the gyro anywhere to prove the flat Earth, because if we are spinning on a ball, the gyro just sitting somewhere in your house would, if you're aligned it properly, it should start moving on an axis.
Exactly.
And the tilt is quite significant. It's like 15 degrees per hour or something like that. Because, over 24 hours, it should do a whole spin.
yeah. Sorry, youth in the chat. I swear it before. I didn't realize it. My apologies to you that I hurt for swearing
You swore
before. Yeah, I did.
at me?
Not that
Yeah,
serious.
like no swearing and then like sad face, disappointment. Think I broke his heart. Yeah, I agree. With the gyro thing, I think when I looked at Wolfie's video, you say they have a self alignment mechanism inside, right? So I have to look further into gyros, how they really work at the end, and how you can measure it.
There's all different types. There's in your phone. They're solid state gyros. They're like it's not a ring laser gyro. It's more simple than that. But your phone has one. So I mean, if you set the gyroscope on your phone, it should even show a curve there, but it doesn't. Or it should show a tilt, but I don't think they do.
Yeah, I think I'd rather not do it with the phone. I mean,
yeah, they're probably not as accurate as. And then there's even fiber optic gyros that are even more accurate because they use a coil of fiber optic wire that so the sensitivity is a lot higher. So, but they're probably even more expensive. But like Nami was saying, if you just got a really nice mechanical gyro, you should be able to do the test. And if it doesn't move at all in 5 hours, I mean, the proof's right there.
Yeah, I always had the misconception, or maybe didn't, so I have to look further into it, that gyros, mechanical gyros, do level themselves automatically to gravity or whatever. So I never considered it as a real problem for globe Earth. Probably, or maybe I'm wrong on this, so I would have to make my own tests for it.
Even if you said a mechanical gyro is self-aligning to gravity, but then how do you explain the ring laser gyro not moving either.
Yeah, that I don't know. I can't give the answer to it. And
can I just make a quick recommendation? Yeah. So John Savage, if you go and check out John Savage, when he was still interested, because he just got sick of the trolls because they constantly came up with objections, which he at first he addressed, but then it got so nitpicky that he just got sick of it. But he's actually one of the guys who does Iron Realm Media on a Friday. But if you check out John Savage's channel, he's done lots and lots and lots of tests with gyroscopes.
I have it up right here, and it's even on his front page. Flat Earth Gyroscope Trilogy. Yeah.
Hey, Nathan, are we still live?
Yeah.
Nathan?
Took me a second to check, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got his channel open here. Yeah, he has on his front page of his YouTube channel 1 year old Flat Earth Gyroscope. So okay, I will look at it. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to pop out for a moment.
No problem.
Because IPS was talking about me, gossiping about me, so I had to troll him a bit during his live stream.
So just to go back to what I said about marrying the two equations, do you guys agree with what I'm saying, or am I wrong?
Well, it may or may be. What you're saying is how they should operate their begging the question model, Travis. So this makes me twitch, if I'm honest. You know, all we're addressing is the fact that they say we shouldn't see any tilt, right? Well, why shouldn't we see any tilt? Oh, what's that? Tilt according to a model. Who cares?
I understand what you're saying. Okay.
It's difficult to wrap your head around it. I was explaining this to Anthony yesterday while we were debunking Red Rhetoric, and he's like, well, he doesn't beg the question. It's like, yeah, he does. Just because he doesn't actually put the mathematics on screen with the radius value spelled out for you doesn't mean he's not begging the question. He automatically assumes Earth is a sphere, and it's the sphere Earth that's causing this phenomena. Right? That's begging the question. He's already got the assumption of what's causing this phenomena. He's not investigating it in any way, shape or form. He's already got the answer. He's begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective omitting model is what causes this phenomena, right? Well, that's begging the question. But most people don't realise when they're doing it. It's like, well, should we work out more accurately what we should or shouldn't see based on what the sphere model tells us? It's like, well, as soon as you say what the sphere model tells us, that's where you're begging the question.
Yeah.
So by that respect, they're always begging the question, because they always assume it's a sphere before they do anything.
Right. All Earth proof, for sphere Earth that is, relies on the presupposition that Earth is a sphere. Absolutely correct.
That's insanity.
Yeah, it is. But you'll hear it. It's just, it takes a few... It took me a while for it to register that that's their trick. Whether or not they know they're doing it is irrelevant, but they start their statement with, if the Earth is a sphere, and as soon as you hear that, you should go ding, 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 ding. What do you mean, if the Earth is a sphere? So we're starting with the assumption the Earth is a sphere then? Well, stop right there. What do you mean, if the Earth is a sphere? Let's prove it's a sphere first. Let's do that bit first, not just assume it's a sphere and go from there. That's how they've done all the calculations that they'll then rely upon. They also made the assumption that it was a sphere and then started measuring, and those measurements get presented back to you with the formal logical fallacy, begging the question on steroids. If the Earth is a sphere, then we will see southern rotation in the southern hemisphere. We see southern rotation in the southern hemisphere. So you're already on a sphere for this example. Yeah, southern hemisphere. If the Earth is a sphere, then we'll see southern rotation. Oh, right. Southern rotation that's still above my head. Well, no, we're automatically assuming that you're antipode when you go to those stars, but I'm not antipode, I'm not hanging off the bottom of a ball. That's why I said if the Earth's a ball. Look, idiot, assume the Earth's a ball for my example. No, the stars are still above me. I'm not underneath my own arse when I go over there. No, I don't need to assume on a sphere, thanks very much, you religious zealot. But yeah, they all rely on you assuming you're on a sphere first.
When I was in Bangkok, I talked to people about the globe Earth, because when I tried to talk to them about the flat Earth, they didn't really understand what I even want from them, right? So the last one day before we had the flight, I went to a bar, and my friend got home a little bit earlier because he was a little sick. So he left me there with like 2 open beers. I ordered something to eat, and then I had nothing to had nothing to do. So I started to talk with the people who worked there, because I was the only person in the bar, about the globe Earth, right? So I wanted to know a little bit their opinion on it, and I could clearly see that they didn't know much about the heliocentric model. And they didn't even think much about it. I started to ask some questions, how they think certain things would work, yet they often they change the topic to something else, that they didn't want to talk to me about it. So just to answer to you what you asked me like 4 or 5 days ago, Nathan, but to talk to people about the globe Earth in Thailand.
Very similar reaction to you got when you asked them the question about flat Earth. Then, by the sounds of things.
Yeah, exactly the same. They just they kind of changed the subject, and so they didn't really want to hear much about it.
Most people aren't thinking about that.
Yeah, I know.
Most people that believe this shit, they're not thinking. They don't have how this model works on their brain. Unless you have a certain curiosity about it, you're not thinking. You just think it's a ball. That's it. Simple.
I mean, I had a lot of misconceptions before I joined the show on the heliocentric model too, right? Which I thought things just work this way on a heliocentric model. Like I thought that the reason on the heliocentric model why you can't see the moon, is because the Earth blocks it with its shadow, right? And this isn't the official explanation, for example. So I had, same as with the flat Earth, I had really many misconceptions when I didn't really think about it before, right? So I can understand these people. They don't think about these things. They just go with, yeah, the Earth is round because we were taught it is round. They didn't think. They didn't think further. They didn't They didn't spend time to research it.
I'll say it again. Good job flat smacking in Bangkok, Zinder.
Thank you. I didn't have the opportunity to do it too often yet. I think this one time was enough to see how people think about it in general there. I should have gone to a university in Bangkok. I think that there I could have a more constructive discussion with people, because I think those people were, first of all, they could speak English a little better, and on the other hand, they had a much higher education than just some people who work in a bar, right? They kind of like to talk like small talk and so on. They don't want to talk to you about a globe Earth, right? This isn't in their interest. So.
You know what it is? You find yourself when you start getting into this flat Earth shit, you find yourself having to learn the heliocentric model even better than you knew it in order to find the flaws in it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I had a pretty good handle of how things worked before I got into this, but when I realized that I had really no idea, or like a really basic idea, and now that I think about it a lot more, I can put more critical thinking into these topics. So it does it. It's not just like a cognitive dissonance thing for me, where I'm just like, no, it's a globe,
Yeah, I think you're right. I think flat earthers in general know more about the heliocentric model than globe earthers who just don't really think about it, because when you get taught at school that things work a certain way, often enough until a certain degree or until a certain age, they don't explain to you why they work this way. They just say to you it works this way, and then you go with it, right? Yet when you when you want to understand things, you have to question those things, which is the reason why I think many flat earthers know more about the heliocentric models than non-flat earthers. In percentage, I mean, let's say there are 10,000 flat earthers and there are 100,000 globe earthers. In percentage, globe earthers know more about globe Earth than flat earthers know more about globe Earth than globe earthers do.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if you constantly get banged over the head with globes of all sorts, then eventually you start to pick them up off the ground, figure them out, and use it back.
Yeah, you're right. Yet, to become a flat earther, I think it would need a little bit more from me, because it isn't enough to say how things don't work on a globe Earth. I would like to know how things work on a flat Earth, but it is a big question that maybe we can never answer, right? Because flat earthers don't have the fundings to do so, like NASA or so, who get a lot of money. You can explain things with the angle of view things, for example. This was a good job from you guys.
Oh, thank you very much. I might round out on that note, actually. So with that, I'm going to say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible, and of course a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do. You smash that like button, then smash it again. Dislike button. Right. Yeah. Smash that dislike button, then smash it again. But if you like the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you in the next video. If you missed the first show, by the way, it's going to start on a replay on my second channel. There's a link in the chat box.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
He's not gonna jump him all of a sudden.
I know that Nathan doesn't like my my begging the question, affirming the consequent concession, but Zinder, does what I said make sense? Would you agree with the fact that I am saying that we would have to consider both equations together? We can't keep them separate. They both have to represent the same phenomenon.
Yeah, I could agree with you. I mean, the problem, of course, is if you expect.
Be ranty.
Nathan, dude. Alright, Zinder, go ahead.
The problem,
Hello?
of course, would be like if you expect to have like 400 feet
limited
drop
viewing
or
angle,
so.
Nate.
There would, on a heliocentric model, there would be like 400 feet of
Something screwed on my desk.
matter that obstructs your vision, right? So you wouldn't see any tilt anyway, right?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear us?
You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you're a bit loud.
I think that's a part of the issue that
Yeah,
would
it
be a
was about
challenge
that
to the
video.
heliocentric model.
Can you not hear the hangout, Ranty?
So
I've left the hangout.
Yeah, but can you
so you
still hear
wouldn't
them?
see it, but
Yeah,
if
no,
you
but I
would
don't
go
wanna
higher
really.
up,
No, but can you hear them
as you
talking?
said,
Yes, I can.
Yeah, you're talking all over everyone.
when something
Oh,
is
it's 'cause
like
I'm on
5
mute.
degree tilted
Who's
away
muting
from
me
you,
in the hangout? Right, that really
and you
pisses
go
me off.
higher up.
Who muted me? Who muted me in the hangout? That's just caused me chaos. Who did that?
Yeah, sorry, but your Skype
I just said to you,
was
don't mute me in the hangout, Arwin.
We're in the middle of a conversation.
Get out. Stupid idiot. I'm running a show. Don't mute me in my own hangout. I've got my own desk that runs individual of the Hangout, right? If Arwin mutes me, it causes chaos. So I didn't know what was going on. I've got a call going on, which I've got to then find. And because Arwin is displeased with the sound of my call, because there's something wrong with my desk, he mutes me in my own bloody Hangout. Get out, Arwin. Idiot. That really annoys me. Pisses me off enough when people mute each other. You mute me, I'll kick you out. Sorry, Ranty. Fly off the handle for a second while Arwin's muting me in my own bloody show.
No, the point about the rooftop essentially is it's a very good demonstration of the limited viewing angle.
I agree.
We should be looking down onto that rooftop, whether we're on a flat plane or a ball, and we're not because we can't see it.
Totally agree. If it's dropping away from you, right, then you're going to be looking down on it.
Yeah, as well as the point we're actually higher than it anyway.
Right. I completely agree. You're not looking down on it.
No.
Right, what the hell's wrong with my desk? Why does it keep playing this stupid Skype sound? Ugh, that's so annoying. Skype updates itself, and then next thing you know, you've got stupid Skype sounds playing on your show. Sorry, Travis, you go.
Ranty. That's okay. I was just going to say, I mean, you just think about it in terms of whether, as if you had that building right next to you, and you're 700 feet up, and it's 400 feet below you. Imagine that it's, the building right next to you, and then just move it a mile away, a mile away, a mile away. You're still going to be expecting the same phenomenon that you're describing. I mean, you're looking down on it, but as it moves away...
I honestly can't hear. I don't know what's going on, but we've got so much feedback.
Okay. All right, I don't know, maybe it's my truck. Anybody else not hear me?
I can hear you with some background noise.
I'm hearing you. I've got a lot of background noise, though.
Am I breaking up, or is it just background noise?
It's just background noise for me.
Yeah. I don't know. Ranty, do you have a shot of the building completely zoomed out and zoomed in? Do you have them both together in the same shot?
I've got them as part of the video when I zoom out. But, I mean, this was my first experience there, so as I went, it was obviously, the weather wasn't fantastic. So I'm intending to go this weekend, after the full moon. So Sunday, Monday, and I'll probably go up both days. And hopefully get some better visibility when I go. So stay tuned.
So, yeah, please.
No, I'm just tutting away because for some reason Skype's updated and put itself back on the PC sounds. So when I'm desperately trying to mute Skype and nothing's happening with those ringing noises. Whereas if you talk for a second, Ranty.
Yeah. Talk for a little. What do you want me to say?
Nothing. I just wanted to check that I was correct. And yeah, if I mute the PC sounds, it mutes Skype now. So I don't know what's caused that, but enough to cause me to eject Darwin with frustration.
Poor Arwin.
It's just because he muted me. I told him, don't mute me in the Hangout. It causes me confusion. And then 5 minutes later, he mutes me. So you're talking, and because the Hangout can't hear our conversation, because I'm muted, it's like a troll coming in and muting me. And, you're talking away and no one can hear you. And the Hangout can't hear us talking. So therefore, they carry on talking. And it just becomes chaos. It's all because Arwin's muted me in the Hangout.
Back to before, what do you expect when you are on a globe Earth? You'd expect on a tower that has like the height of 100 meter, and you stand on it, and then you look at the tower like, I don't know, 20, 30 miles away, with the same height. What do you expect to see below it? Like, would you expect it to be lower than you on a globe Earth, or the same height as you?
How far away is the other tower?
like 30 miles or so, like you know. So what you would expect to see the top of the tower, the roof, because
Oh,
you can.
you mean from my observation or a different observation?
On your observation, you had a higher altitude, right? You were higher up than the building, is it right? When you the observation you showed. Okay.
Yeah, his observation was from 700 feet or so, and the building is 400 feet. So your question though is, if you're on a building that's the same height as another building at 30 miles away, what would you expect?
So I would say, I would expect, for me now personally, that you would see the same height, and the only thing you would see different would be like the mass obstructing it, obstructing the bottom of the tower. Yet the height would be the same if the Earth was a sphere, right?
Wouldn't you have to be looking at a downward angle to see the top of the other tower?
I don't think so, because
if it was a globe, I mean.
Yeah, I don't think so, because like the distance to the middle of the circle would still be the same amount of distance from it to you and from the other tower to you, right?
All right, but so if you measured, so if you had the angle from where your tower is to the other tower, and you had a tangent line going from the top of your tower to that tower, if you spun around 180 degrees, basically that tangent should be pointing up into the air somewhere.
Yeah,
because to see the other tower, when you look behind you, your line, if you're on the globe, will be, if you get 30 miles the other way, you should be looking like 600 or 700 feet into the sky.
Right. That's just like having a lighthouse, and if you could measure the beam out, the beam would be at an obtuse angle. The farther out you go, it would not be level.
Maybe you can draw a circle on a piece of paper or so, and then you draw like two small lines around the same length on like 10 degrees difference of the circle, and then you draw a straight line between those two lines, and then
So I was just going to say, doesn't it seem that it's just flattening everything out when it gets to the very narrow angle? So you're looking at the rooftop in a narrow angle, and it's looking flat. Consequently, if you was looking at ground level across the water surface, and you're looking at the bottom of something, it makes it look flat. Compression, with the compression that you see.
Yeah.
So is it just is it like just a feature of our optics and how we view stuff?
Well, aren't we actually describing that whole BBC or Discovery Channel with what's his face, Speak and Spell, where they did that helicopter observation, and they did the laser observation? And
Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking, remember? So they had that laser on the ship, and when they were a mile out or 3 miles out, they already had an obtuse angle. They're like, look, it's higher. So
Anthony,
they're even arguing our point, saying that the angle is going to be the surface of the ground is going to be falling away from, which is why you have a higher.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I needed to test my desk somehow, and something just threw me off, so I'm actually using you as a test subject. I don't actually have anything to talk to you about.
Fuck you then.
Yeah, fuck you too.
All right, no worries.
Bye.
You woke him up. He's angry.
Well, unbelievably right. There's two versions of Skype on my computer. I've avoided at all costs the app version because it causes me problems. And you had the same problem, right, Ranty?
Yeah.
Well, now I've got two versions. So if you dial in, if you call me, for some reason it rings on the app version. fuck only knows how it's managed to weasel its way into my computer, but I've now got 2 Skypes. I'm severely annoyed. So I've called Anthony, and it calls it on the Skype that I use, the one I've installed, right? And it comes through the line I've programmed it to be on. Whereas if someone dials me, I've got no, it seems like I think I've figured out how to turn the ringer off, but it's dialing in on a completely different line. Well, I'm aware of it, but it's still bloody annoying. Why have I got 2 Skypes on my computer? I've only installed 1. Bloody Windows.
Listen, I'm going to drop because I'm on a roll, so I'll catch you guys later.
Later. Thank you for being my test subject. Okay, well, I've got a grip on it now. If you're watching this, Arwin, my apologies for kicking you out. I was just stressed and didn't need you muting things when I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. He's not watching this. Anyway, my bad. Sorry. Completely destroyed the tempo of the conversation. I'm going to be disappearing shortly anyway. I'm going to collect my wife. I've actually got a car today.
I'm going to go back. I want to go back to what Zinder was asking because I had a visual in my mind. Again, I think what I heard was almost a similar description of what we would say about the horizon. The horizon has to fall away from us so that we would eventually be looking down at it. But we never do, except by a very, very small degree. I mean, I was up in the air 4 times in the past 2 weeks in an airplane, and each time I'm shooting footage, and the horizon is directly in front of me. Yeah. So that goes back to your question. So if I'm on a 30-foot building or a 300-foot building, and there's a 300-foot building 10 miles away from me, it's going to be smaller because of perspective. Mm-hmm. And if I get a pair of binoculars or my P900 or whatever, and I zoom in on you on the roof, you're going to be 180 degrees. You're going to be
parallel.
Parallel. Yeah, that's what parallel to me. So I'm never going to be looking down on you, even if you're 60 miles away. I'm never going to have to look down to see you. I think that's significantly significant.
All right.
I think it's significantly significant too.
Well, I think it flattens everything out. I think perspective does tend to flatten everything out. That's proof with looking down at this building. It's parallel with the roof, and essentially you should be looking down onto it, and it's not. It's flattened it out. So it's the same with all the observations that we're seeing. It flattens things out, squashes them at the horizon. It is an absolute function of flatness rather than curve and perspective.
Yeah, but I suppose your question, though, Ranty, is you're already 300 feet higher, so you actually would think that you're going to look down, but you're not.
Yeah.
That's even more significantly significant.
Yeah, it looks like it's rising. It looks like the building's rising up.
Right.
Which would be a function of looking across a flat plane as opposed to being dropping away around the curve. I mean, I'm already 300 foot higher than the building, and then the building has dropped by virtue of the curve of the Earth, if you believe the curve. Let's work out what that curve would be anyway, what the drop should be, because I only did the hidden. But over that distance, that wouldn't matter.
Hold on a second. There you go. I was just about to say, I've got you on screen, Daniel.
So that's just what I was mentioning before, that your tangent line on the curve, if you look behind you and there was another 300-foot tall tower, would be impossible to see it on that same tangent line. Whereas if it was a flat plane, all 3 of these buildings, you should be able to even just like shoot a laser across them.
Yeah, what's funny about that, Daniel, is that image is in the Robotham book. he does that with ships. He does that with flags.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
But stuff does drop. I mean, this is an orthographic representation. I know you're on our side, don't get me wrong. But, you know, that isn't the way the world represents itself to you. You never get this view. You never side on to anything you're observing. The lines that you're drawing are sight lines. That's what you're looking down. But you don't get to see side on to a sight line. You just don't. It's impossible.
Right, you're never going to see this.
No. but that's what they present it as always.
Yeah. So here it looked like if I know Nathan pointed it out. This is not a direct view, but here it looked like you don't look at the other tower. You don't look down to the other tower, right? When you look, regardless on which tower you are.
Right.
You are always on eye level with the other tower. As long as you can see it.
Right.
So
So
you
you're
don't-
getting smaller, and you know the angular size is obviously getting smaller. Therefore, in relative terms to the thing in the nearer foreground, the tower in the near foreground is going to look higher because it's closer. But like you say, you're never looking down on it by virtue of the fact that it's gone around a curve.
Yeah, right. So when you take two objects, like two cubes with the same size, and you put the camera on the
Two
top
what?
of the
What are we
cube, right,
taking?
and you looked at it this parallel and to the table or so, and when you
Two
move
what?
the one cube away,
A cube.
yeah, a cube or so, like to see because of perspective, you move the cube away and then you away like, I don't know, 10 inches, and then you move it a little bit to the right. Both cubes will seem to have the same height, regardless how far away they are, right? To the perspective.
Well, yeah, on the x-axis, you've got
Yeah.
an infinite angle, right? You can as long as there's nothing obscuring you. You know, Arwin's example does still stand true. Same with you saying about the ceiling. Well, if you're looking down the side of a wall, then obviously that's going to be a limitation to your viewing angle. But if you're just looking out like Ranty is here, to the left and to the right, there's nothing obscuring it. There's nothing limiting the angle. So yeah, as stuff goes to the left, I know you and I had this argument a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, that's not where the limitation of the angle comes in.
Yeah, you're right. I was just pointing this out before because when, before I even flew to Thailand, I remember a video that supposedly should prove the Earth is a globe because mountains that were like 4,000 feet high or so looked to be lower than you on a lower height, right? So they said, all right, this is proof because. I think even Red Rhetoric said that. I don't remember. So a mountain that is higher looks smaller, even though you are higher than it. And of course, then when you apply a perspective to it, you can kind of explain it. So
yeah, I mean, this is an impossible shot in my mind. I'm looking at the image now, and I'm thinking, I am substantially higher than I'm 300 feet at least higher than this building, and it's only 10 miles away, so I should be looking down onto the roof of it.
Ranty, you took that with the 1000?
With the 1000, yeah.
That picture is so fucking clear, man. Jesus. Like,
and that's with mist.
So good.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Even with mist, it looks so damn clear. Like 10 miles away, that's crazy.
I'm going to leave these guys eulogising about the virtues of the P1000 while I say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the second channel, which is Nathan Oakley audience. If you're watching this on Nathan Oakley and you're not aware, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with all the Flat Earth debate pre-show and after-show goodness. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!